My husband's spiritual best friend tried to manifest my life savings, so I gave them a reality check they didn't see coming. I was standing in the middle of my own living room, holding a lukewarm glass of Chardonnay, watching my best friend of 15 years, Chloe, tell my husband that he looked extraordinarily centered in the linen shirt she'd bought him. It was a shirt I'd never seen before, and a version of my husband I didn't recognize. My husband, Mark, is a high school history teacher. He's the kind of man who wears mismatched socks and gets excited about Civil War documentaries. Or, he was. Lately, he's been talking about vibrational alignment and manifesting the true self. It all started when Chloe moved into our guest room for a few weeks after her third divorce. Chloe is what I call a spiritual nomad. She has no job, 3 crystals for every mood, and a way of making you feel like you're a low-vibration person just for wanting to eat a cheeseburger. I'm an ER nurse. My life is blood, sweat, and 12-hour shifts. I don't have time to manifest anything other than a nap. Sarah, Chloe said, turning her wide, pitying eyes on me. You look so tense. The energy in your aura is practically gray. Doesn't she look gray, Mark? Mark looked at me, and for the first time in 10 years, he didn't see his wife. He saw a problem to be solved. She's just stuck in the matrix, Chloe. The hospital drains her. I laughed, though it felt like swallowing glass. The matrix pays the mortgage, Mark. Which, by the way, Chloe, we need to talk about that rent you promised. Chloe sighed, a long, theatrical sound. Money is just paper, Sarah. It's an illusion of security. I'm contributing something much more valuable to this household, clarity. That clarity involved her throwing away my favorite nonstick pans because they were leaking toxicity into our souls and replacing my coffee with mushroom tea that tasted like dirt. Mark defended her every time. He started spending his evenings in the guest room with her, meditating. The tension hit a breaking point last week. I came home after a brutal 14-hour shift to find my home office, my only sanctuary, completely emptied out. My desk, my books, my laptop, gone. In their place was a floor-to-ceiling macrame wall hanging and a meditation fountain. What did you do? I whispered, looking at Mark. We created a sanctuary, Sarah, he said, beaming. Chloe said your work stress was infecting the house. We moved your things to the garage. You'll thank us when you feel the flow in here. I didn't scream. I didn't even cry. I just walked out to the garage, sat on a box of my old college textbooks, and felt the glue that held my marriage together officially dry up and crack. 3 days later, I was at work when I got a notification on my phone. It was an alert from our joint savings account. $15,000 had been withdrawn. I felt sick. That was our emergency fund, the money we'd been saving for our 10th anniversary trip to Italy. I called Mark, but he didn't answer. I called Chloe. Straight to voicemail. I left work early, claiming a family emergency. When I got home, the house was silent, but the meditation sanctuary was glowing with expensive-looking candles. I went to Mark's computer. I know his password, it's our wedding date. I didn't find a meditation schedule. I found an itinerary. Mark and Chloe weren't just meditating. They had booked 2 one-way tickets to an eco-retreat in Costa Rica. The departure was in 48 hours. But it wasn't just a retreat. I found a folder of messages. Mark had been funneling money to Chloe for months, paying off her credit cards, buying her ceremonial jewelry, and even funding a spiritual business she was supposedly starting. And then I saw the message that broke me. Chloe, once we're in the jungle, she'll have no choice but to let go. She's too grounded in the physical world to follow us. It's for the best, Mark. You can't reach your peak with an anchor around your neck. Mark, you're right. I'll leave a letter on the counter when we head to the airport. I just hope the house sale goes through quickly. The house sale. He had already contacted a realtor. He was planning to sell the roof over my head while I was at work, take the equity, and disappear into the jungle with my best friend. I spent the next 24 hours in a state of terrifying, icy calm. I didn't confront them. I went to the bank and moved every single cent of the remaining money, including my own personal savings, into a new account at a different bank. I called the realtor Mark had been talking to, pretending to be his assistant, and told them the sale was on hold due to legal complications. Then, I did something a little petty. Chloe's spiritual business involved a website where she sold blessed crystals. I knew her login because she'd used my laptop to set it up. I went in and changed all the prices to 1 cent. The night before their flight, we sat down for dinner. Chloe had made a cleansing quinoa bowl. Sarah, Chloe said, reaching across the table to pat my hand. We've decided that tomorrow, we're going to take a little trip. Just to clear the air. We'll be gone for a while. Oh, I know, I said, smiling. I've never been a good liar, but tonight, I was Meryl Streep. I think a trip is a great idea. You both seem so connected. Mark looked relieved. You're not mad? Why would I be mad at someone seeking their truth? I asked. I watched them pack. I watched Mark put his linen shirts into a backpack. I watched Chloe pack her crystals into velvet pouches. I felt like I was watching a movie of my own life ending. At 4 a.m., the alarm went off. They were heading to the airport for their 7 a.m. flight. I was already up, sitting at the kitchen table with a cup of real, caffeinated coffee. Ready to go? I asked. Sarah, go back to sleep, Mark said, looking guilty. We'll call you when we land. Oh, you won't need to call me, I said. I pulled a stack of papers out of my robe pocket and slid them across the counter. They weren't clarity documents. They were the bank statements showing the zero balance, the legal notice to vacate I'd drafted for Chloe, and a copy of a temporary restraining order I'd filed for financial elder abuse, a stretch, but enough to freeze things, and domestic harassment. What is this? Mark stammered. This is your manifestation coming true, Mark, I said. You wanted to be free of the anchor? Well, the anchor just cut the rope. The money is gone. I moved it all. And since this house is in my name, bought with my inheritance, remember, Chloe, you have 10 minutes to get your macrame out of here before the police arrive to escort you for trespassing. You can't do this. Chloe shrieked, her Zen persona evaporating instantly. That money was an investment. Mark promised me. Mark promised you my money, I said, standing up. And Mark? Your flight? I cancelled the tickets last night. Since they were non-refundable, I just donated the credit to a charity that provides medical supplies to actual people in the real world. Mark looked at me like I'd turned into a monster. Sarah, you're being so physical. This is so low vibe. Call it what you want, I said. I call it a vibrational shift in the locks. Which are being changed at 9 a.m. Get out. It's been a week. Chloe is staying on someone else's couch, probably cleansing their aura while stealing their silverware. Mark is staying at a cheap motel, texting me 30 times a day about how misunderstood he was and how Chloe manipulated his spiritual journey. He wants to come home. He says he realized the jungle isn't where he belongs with me. But I look around my house, the fountain is in the trash, the macrame is gone, and my desk is back in my office, and I realize I don't miss him. I miss the man I thought he was, but that man didn't exist. He was just a hollow vessel waiting for someone like Chloe to fill it up with nonsense. I'm sitting here now, eating a cheeseburger in my living room, listening to the silence. It doesn't feel like a sanctuary. It just feels like a house. I'm not the glue anymore. I'm just the person who owns the house. And for the first time in 15 years, my vibration is exactly where it needs to be, alone, and at peace. Was I the asshole for freezing their money and canceling their tickets without warning, or did I just help them manifest the reality of their choices?